surprise me. I see you trying, but you can't stop me. You gonna hate, then gonna get your hate on. You gonna be fake, but I'ma brush my shoulders off. Your end is here, my time is now. My kingdom's here, you best go down. Hey, who can challenge me?
Shalom, shalom, shalom everyone. Good evening, good night, good morning, where you are tuning in right now. You're locked into the Search Engine International, and I'm your host, Brother Rawchaa. Okay, joining me shortly in the studios will be Elder Rawchaa. And you know what, man, it's been a while since we've been here doing this. Took a break for a week, 2 weeks I think we did. And we're back now in full effect, ready to roll again. Tonight promises to be a very interesting show. I have a very interesting guest coming on tonight. For those of you who have seen the ads out there, wow. Let me see. Let me bring it up. Let me bring this guy up. Okay, let me read something on this brother. Yeah. The guest tonight is gonna be Robert Stephen Thomas. All right. Now this guy thinks he's an extraterrestrial from another planet, and he's gonna share some information with us tonight. You know, hey, should be interesting tonight, man. I'll read up a little bio on him in a minute. But before that, yo, I want to say, you know, greetings in the name of the Most High, Ahaya, Bahashim Yeshaya, and yo, you know, it's so good just to be back here right now, and doing this work, dropping this out, and you know, I hope and trust everyone had a blessed Passover. The messages coming in thick and quick. Now people asking out there, you know, if they heard me right, that this brother believes he's an alien. Yes, he does believe he's an alien. So we're gonna speak to him about that and some of the things he's bringing forward. And he sent us a question sheet of questions he would like us to ask him. So we're gonna see how that goes, and that holds up. You know how it goes here on the Search Engine International. You know, the Search Engine International don't operate like a normal radio show. You understand? We break a lot of the conventional laws of radio. You know, and you know, I mean, you know, we will let the Spirit lead it and take it where it needs to go. You understand me? And like I said, we're coming off a 1 week, 2 weeks really break. We had a Passover here. I mean, I'm gonna put some videos up soon, so you'll have some videos on the YouTube, on the various channels on YouTube. And I hope everyone had a blessed week. You know, I know I did. Praises to the Most High. You know, I want to send thanks out to all the brothers and sisters here who made it what it was. You understand me? Operating, you know, we operated as a family and dealing with it, man. And it's just a blessing right now to see, you know, throughout the earth, Israel on the rise. You understand me? Elder Rawchaa, let me see. Elder Rawchaa should be joining me very shortly, man. I haven't spoken to him since nearly a week now. Probably over a week, actually. Not spoken to Elder Rawchaa, so it'll be good to catch up with him when he gets into the studio as to how it was where he is. And until my guest arrive, you know, if anybody wants to share with us how their Passover was or anything they wanted to share, just hit one, I'll pull you in, and we can talk for 2 minutes until a guest arrives, okay? Just let me hear what went on in your town, in your area. How was it? Was it blessed? And so on. Okay? Joining me shortly is Elder Rawchaa. I think he's here in the queue somewhere. Elder Rawchaa, if you can hear me, hit one. Let me see. And my guest is also here as well. We have Robert Stephen Thomas with us. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. But just a quick reminder to everyone to let you know we broadcast on Blog Talk Radio 5 days a week. Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, okay? Search Engine International on a Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Eastern. What scripture is that? On a Thursday night, 5 p.m. Eastern. Coming out of Babylon on a Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Also, the Chilling with Israel, which is the latest show to our lineup. And if you missed it, I suggest you check it out. Hosted by myself and Brother Azariah. And that show we focusing on dealing with the arts, the talents in the church, the music, and so on. So if you're a poet, if you're a singer, just send us your songs, tune in, and come in. We'll definitely play your music. We'll definitely bring you in. All right. And okay, Elder Rawchaa is here. All right. Let me go over now to my guest. Let me bring Elder Rawchaa in first. Okay, hold on. Actually, here, I'm guessing. Okay, here we are. Hello.
Yes.
How you doing?
Okay.
Okay, everyone. My guest tonight is Robert Stephen Thomas. Mr. Thomas, could you go ahead and introduce yourself for me to the listeners?
Well, it's a pleasure to be on your show, sir. I'm not exactly certain what it is that you would like of me, or what. How should I respond? Would you like to ask a question?
Well, before we get to the questions, just introduce yourself to the listeners, who you are, what it is that you do, your research, the books you've been writing, and I guess we can pick it up from there.
Well, certainly. I finished college with a degree in fine art and was a commercial artist in Detroit for a couple of years, and then decided from that point that it was best for me to get into business. And I started a business in Dallas, Texas with some partners, and we owned the business for about 17 years, and I sold out and then went to work for a major international Fortune 500 corporation. I was their vice president and general manager, and then retired 3 years ago. But during all that time, my major love has been history. And I have a library of over 1,400 books, nonfiction books, on history and all of the major sciences, including DNA study and research, microbiology, quantum physics, and a number of other very important modern areas of study. As a result of all that work, I began writing a book, published my first book about a year and a half ago, which the title of that book is Intelligent Intervention. And I'm presently in the process of finishing up my next two for my publisher, which one will be presented this June, and then the following at the end of the year in December 2013.
Okay. Let me see here. It says here you do in your book you do a lot of religious history. Pages on history of religion in your book.
Yes.
Why was that necessary? Why is that?
Well, the largest chapter in my book is only almost 90 pages long, and it's about all the great religions. Approximately a third of my study and research has been theology, all of the great religions. I've read everything pretty much in print on all of the great religions, Western religions, Hindu, Buddhist, Confucianism, Sumerian religion, Babylonian religion, South American religion, and on and on. And I've come to the conclusion that all of the religions that we have in the world today, though we tend to look at our differences, the differences in our belief are much fewer than the things that we share in common. And I find it a tragedy that there is so much religious division in the world today, and that I feel that division is one of the major causes of destruction and death throughout the last 2,000 or 3,000 years, and in fact is destroying our planet today and making it worse for all people to get along. And I believe that we must, as a species, as a race of humanity, resolve our religious differences and come to a common understanding of God if the world is going to survive and we're going to make it to the next evolutionary cycle.
Okay. All right. An advanced alien presence. Okay? In Hertz history, right? Hold on one sec. Before we go there, let me bring Elder Rawchaa in. Elder Rawchaa, you there?
Yes. Bless you. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, man. You're coming in clearly, man.
Okay, great. Hello, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Great, thank you.
Okay, my name is Brother Elder Rawchaa, and I'm sorry I came a little late, but I'm supposed to be the guy that actually be posing a few of these questions to you. And Brother Azariah told me that you are kind of a highly acclaimed author in your own right, and you have some interesting topics that he found on YouTube. If you don't mind me asking you a few of the questions, your book, what does the title of your book Intelligent Intervention implies? Like, what exactly does it imply?
Well, that's a good question, and I can answer it fairly easily. There was, at the time of the singularity, which was the beginning of our universe, observable universe, there was a singularity where everything in the universe was down to one tiny point. There was a God force, which is a force of nature and intelligence, at that time in the singularity, which then caused the Big Bang, upon which formed everything that we see in the universe today. And it's this universal intelligence, or godliness, that is the basis and is manifest behind everything that we see in the universe today. It brings the formation of an atom together molecularly, and all of the 96 major atoms in the world are created through this force and held together, and they are the things that form you and me and our planet and the water and the skies above and the sun and our galaxy and everything else that we can see in the universe. And I believe that all comes down to one. I also am convinced that life exists throughout the universe. By that I mean that there are biological forms, very much like those found on Earth, that are spread throughout the universe. There are also intelligent beings. Some of those beings were created much sooner than here on Earth, and as a result have had an opportunity to become even more intelligent and advanced than humanity is today. So, in summary, the two primary forces which have shaped humanity, modern humanity, and made us what we are today is universal intelligence, which is the natural form natural form of God, which flows through everything in the universe, including us and our consciousness, and then also advanced intelligent species have visited our planet Earth in the past, and it is recorded in all of the great religions, and helped form man and make us what we are today. So intelligent intervention comes in two different forms. Number one, it's the universal God, and number two, it's the advanced intelligent beings that have come to Earth in the past to help form and shape human evolution.
Okay. A few other questions here, right in line.
Sure.
Let me ask you about this intelligence. This intelligence you're speaking of in your book, you're referring to one whom most call God, I would assume.
Yes.
All right. The next question. You actually describe an advanced alien presence in Earth's history. How does that relate to your God as intelligence? What is that concept of the aliens, and how do they come into this sort of evolutionary concept that's in your book?
Advanced aliens that are superior to humans from other parts of our galaxy have been in existence on their planet for more years than they were here on Earth. The universe, as we know through science, is approximately 14.9 billion years old. But our planet here, Earth, was only formed and capable of supporting life for about 3.9 billion years. That's really only relatively recent compared to many other stars and planetary systems. Some of those stars were formed earlier than the Sun and had the opportunity to grow life on some of their planets, and that life evolved and became intelligent, and they may have had a billion or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more years of evolution than we have here on Earth to reach their height. And at some point, these other beings who emanated from God and from natural evolution came here and visited Earth to help establish humanity, and took our primitive ancestors who were Homo erectus, which was kind of just slightly out of the ape or condition, and these aliens came here and genetically worked with the genes of our ancestors, Homo erectus, and through changing and splicing genes, we evolved into the beings that we are today. The very first Adam and Eve, if you will, came from South Africa, and about 200,000 years were fully formed, and they grew into everyone on the planet, no matter what your race or background, Hindus and Chinese and Caucasians and black, and every race virtually came from this ancestor in South Africa, and then ultimately, which is modern man, is you and I, with comparable intelligence, and then began to move and migrate around the Earth, first toward Europe, and then Western Europe, and then toward India, and then Australia, and then further west to China, and ultimately to South America and up through the United States and the Americas.
Okay. Now, there's other questions, but, I mean, that was so vast, I need to really touch on a few things you've just mentioned.
Sure.
A lot of information there. Let's first start with, you said that there was aliens from another planet.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us some insight on what is the name of this planet, and from what source did you get the evidence of this particular planet? First, the name.
Yes, well, one of the races that came here, advanced races, they called themselves the Annunaki.
Okay.
And you will find the history of them and the history that I've just described in the oldest book in existence on Earth. It's in the museums of England and great museums in London and the Middle Eastern countries. And it's the oldest history book ever written. It's written on stone clay tablets in cuneiform, and it dates back to about 6,000 years ago. It was written by the Sumerians, who were the first advanced civilization. And you can read that book today. You can order it online from Amazon. There are 3 or 4 versions of it by different authors. And the problem is that it was not the language that it was written in cuneiform was only recently interpreted and spread into other languages like English in about 1960s. And the first book, English printing of this book, the book, by the way, is called the Enuma Elish, and many of the stories that you find in Genesis of the Old Testament are in the Enuma Elish as well, including Adam and Eve and the Annunaki and the Nephilim and many things that peoples and concepts that appeared in Genesis of the Old Testament were in this book written about 4,000 years before the Old Testament was assembled by Moses. Now, these things that I'm saying aren't my feelings or my beliefs. They are a result of tangible physical evidence that you can go and examine yourself in museums and in the early writings of our earliest civilizations, both Sumerian, Babylonian, Egyptian, Hindu, and many others. Ultimately, the Egyptians, the 18th dynasty pharaohs who existed around 1500 BC, and ended with Akhenaten, who was the father of Tutankhamun, were the very first monotheist, or one god. Prior to Akhenaten, the Egyptian, we thought in terms of many gods, and the many gods were the Annunaki, or the advanced species that came to Earth. Akhenaten may have been a Anunnaki himself, but he changed because there is a deeper natural God that, again, the Bible would call the Lord or the God Almighty. They also understand that as a force of nature. But most people think that the Jews, or Moses particularly, wrote the Old Testament, but that's not true, and invented monotheism. We know today from archaeological digs in the last 70 years that he got these ideas from Akhenaten and the pharaohs of the 18th dynasty. And we see those written on the walls in Egypt and Luxor and many other countries, and can read that today. So that's an awful lot to kind of get out there. And I know it goes, it's an antithesis for a number of people who believe differently about religion. And I respect that, but I do have to insist that these things I'm speaking about are in the libraries and in the historical and archaeological record and can be verified. And so when I say, as I said in the very beginning, that we need to reach a new religious understanding on the planet, what I mean by that is we can't have all these different religions. We have to have all the people of the world understand the truth about God, both with a big G and a little g, and understand that. And all of the great stories that we read in the Bible and the other great religions of the world, again, all make sense, and they go back to a common source. They all come from the Enuma Elish, which is from the race that I explained, the Sumerians, which, history, when you went to school, you were taught that the Sumerians were the very first civilization on Earth, and they developed writing and schooling and animal husbandry and farming and all of the advanced skills that we needed as a society. But all of the great religions of the world today go back to that one source, the Enuma Elish, which was the story of history and creation that the Sumerians passed on and was learned by them from the Anunnaki.
Okay, but real quick, I just wanted to know in specific, did you know the name of this planet? Did the information you've read, did they give you the name of the planet that these aliens came from?
They did, and that's one of the parts of the original story of human history that is a little uncertain. The name of their planet is, they called it and described it, and it's written in the Enuma Elish, is Tiamat. It's Tiamut, Tiamat. And that's where the Anunnaki came from originally. Okay. That's their home planet.
And let me ask you real quick before, there's other things I want to touch on, but in a nutshell, would this be the what you would call the progenitors of the sons of Anak that we read in the Bible?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you could explain that more specifically, I'll try to give you a better answer. But I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to.
Okay. Well, I don't want to go into I was going to come back and see if we can come to some mutual understanding, because I agree that about the division of religions and how they have divided the people. Mm-hmm. And if we can come on one accord in some understanding, maybe, like you said, some of the information you've found is similar to what we read in the Bible and what others have read in other societies. It's just that we can't come together and understand the origin of some of this key information. Like the question I was asking you was, in the Bible, in the book of Numbers, I don't want to go into a lot of it right now because I wanted you to bring forth what you had to bring forth today.
Sure.
But in the book of Joshua, in the book of Numbers, in the book of Deuteronomy, all the way up until to Moses, you have the children of Israel, God's people in the Bible, fighting against what you would call giants or Nephilim or the sons of Anak, A-N-A-K.
Now I understand, yes.
Yeah. Do you know whether or not, or have you researched whether or not these sons of Anak or these Anakis in numbers come from the original Anakis that came to Earth as aliens?
Yes, now I understand exactly where you were.
Yes.
The Genesis of the Bible hints at that and does tell the story, but not as thoroughly as it is told in the Enuma Elish. You have to realize that even though Moses is believed to have written the Pentateuch, which is the first 5 chapters of the Old Testament, we're not certain that he did that. If Moses did write the first 5 chapters of the Old Testament, he would have had to have written them in Egyptian hieroglyphs because that's what he was taught in. There was no Hebrew language at that time. The Hebrew language and written language didn't come for over 500 years after Moses. The first archaeological records that we have of Hebrew in the Hebrew Bible are 700 BC, and Moses lived in approximately 1250 BC. Now, to answer your question, the Anunnaki helped create, they took our ancient prehistoric Homo erectus, which was slightly more than an ape, and they worked with the genetics and the DNA and that creature, creating us today, modern man, all of us. And at some point after that, and they created us also to help them. They had mining colonies in South Africa and in the middle, in Afghanistan, in that area, and other places, South America as well. And they partially created us, our Cro-Magnon man, to help them and raise crops and feed people and do the mining for them. They used these gold and tin and silver and corundum, which is industrial diamond. They used those things in their manufacturing operations, and that was one of their major purposes for coming here. But they made man, or our first ancestors, to help them in this process. But at some point, about 100,000 years after we were working with them, some of the Anunnaki, who were advanced beings, were attracted to female humans and actually mated with them. And that resulted in what you read in the Bible as the Nephilim. Now, in the Nephilim, they call them giants, but the word giant that we're referring to in English actually refers to a Hebrew word, which is not giant meaning a big in size, but meaning big in stature, or meaning someone who is very important, not necessarily much taller than everyone. So if you go back to the original Hebrew and Egyptian, that word for the Nephilim does not necessarily mean that they were giants. But you also can use the section in the Old Testament, in Genesis, which refers to the Nephilim as the fallen angels, because they broke God's word, or the universal God, and his commandment not to have relations with man, the Annunaki should not have, but they did, and they were then cast down and forced to stay on the planet until they eventually died out.
Okay, so, well, right now I don't really want to debate whether or not Moses wrote the first 5 books, because we have understanding and believe the book and understand how that went. I'm just trying to get some common ground, whether or not you know whether or not the sons of Anak are related to the Anunnaki.
Well, we have great examples all around the planet that most people aren't aware of or are not paying enough attention to. And those examples are in the archaeological record. We have sites that go back to 10 to 12,000 years ago, about 12,000 BC, that are in South America, in Egypt, throughout the Middle East and in China, that contain structures that were built by an extreme technology. And it's not something that primitive man could have done with stone axes, copper chisels, and ropes and hemp. An example is in Bolivia, one of the oldest archaeological sites in the world, is between 12 and 14,000 years old. You can go there today. If someone doesn't believe me, they can go to the internet and put in Puma Punku, Pumapunku, and look it up and see this site. And what you'll see is some of the most magnificently carved stone you'll ever see. There are stones that weigh, some of them much as 200 and 300 tons, that have all these precision tooled marks on them, engravings, and they're extremely complex. They simply cannot be done because the stones are so hard. They cannot be done by hand by the people that archaeologists today, most archaeologists, attribute them to. And these stones exist, and stones like them, all over the world. Now, these stones are so old that it tells us that there's something about the history that we've been taught about ourselves in school that is wrong. There was no civilization that we know of in early history that was capable of the engineering techniques that produced these works, and yet there they are. You can look them up on Google, or you can get a plane ticket and go to Bolivia and on the northern shores of the Great Lake there and walk around these ruins yourself and see them. You can also go to Syria and Iraq and China and other countries where these same things exist in the same sizes and dimensions. So we look at these elements as proof to show that there was an extremely advanced intelligence that had engineering capabilities as great or greater than ours today, and that you don't see these people mentioned anywhere in the science record. We're not taught in school about them, but they're there. And that's why my book is controversial, and I don't expect everyone to accept everything that I'm saying at all. But I've spent many, many years researching all these, and I believe that there is a common story and a common thread, and that's what my book, Intelligent Intervention, does, is it pulls all of these ideas and weaves them together into one common history for humanity that I think makes better sense.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm not going to. I guess I can go to the next question, because it seems you're not going to answer whether or not you know that whether or not the sons of Anak are descendants of the Anunnaki. So
I would say yes. The sons of Anak, as I understand it, would be. Or actually, it would be the sons of God, or their God was their leader, who was named Anu, A-N-U. Anu, I believe, is in Sumerian is the same as Anak in the Bible.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's what now we're on one accord. Okay, let me get to the next question here. All right. The next question. Now, the tablets that you were speaking of, it wouldn't happen to be in another translation, the Gilgamesh Stones or the Gilgamesh Tablet, would it?
Well, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a separate book, and does come from the same library. It's one that was unearthed in 1891 by an archaeologist, and they found the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that was one. The Enuma Elish that I referred to was another. In addition to that, they have tablets that talk about commerce and trade and treaties with other nations and laws and government laws and marriages and birth records and all kinds of things. It was a huge library that was discovered, and it was found in the ruins of the Babylonian king Ashurbanipal. Mm-hmm. But, yes, the Epic of Gilgamesh was one of those.
Okay, so I'm sure you've read the Epic of Gilgamesh, right?
I have, yes.
Okay. And do you know the history of Noah's son Ham's grandson finding those tablets on the other side of the flood? You got that information?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right. Well, let's get to the next question, because I think we're getting somewhere here. All right. The next question. These aliens that came to Earth, Those that believe in the Bible, and we believe in the Bible, we believe those fallen angels were evil. They had advanced technology, but they revolted against the Most High. Yes, they helped in creation, but they revolted against the Creator. Let me ask you, and matter of fact, we believe that these fallen angels eventually slept with women and therefore bear an hybrid being, celestial and terrestrial, together. Therefore, and started cross-splicing animals, great technology, and taught mankind things beyond what they were supposed to teach man. And therefore, and man ended up servicing them before the flood, like we read in Genesis 6, which led to the Creator who banished these fallen angels to cause a flood that could wipe out some of their creation before mankind would be destroyed. Let me ask you, do you believe that these fallen angels or Anunnaki are evil?
Well, excuse me, to answer your question, the Bible, again, was only compiled about 700 B.C.
Yeah.
There are two books that, two flood stories and stories that deal with the Anunnaki and the Nephilim that are millennia or older than that. One is the Gospel of Noah. The Gospel of Enoch, which was originally a part of the Old Testament. It was part of the Septuagint, and it was later removed.
Yeah.
Now the
hold on. Let me say something real quick because I have a lot of questions on some key points that I want to get to with this. The reason why I'm coming in, we know when we invited you on, we know you don't believe or respect the Bible in the context of what those who stand on the Bible. You don't have the same view of the Bible as we. We understand that. So you understand, so that we can avoid that going into a debate strictly on the context of the Bible, because us here, we deal with the records before the Bible, the records that compiled the Bible. We deal with the Hebrew. We deal with many records. So I'm not stuck with, I understand all the stages that the Bible went through to get to where it is now. So just to avoid all that going through, I'm just trying to come to points in which we both can understand, even though we may have two separate views of the same book. So
certainly,
so what I'm trying to ask you, just in particular, not whether or not you believe the Bible and the time stamp of the Bible and how long it's been created and what stages it's been through. I'm just saying that based on our view, we believe that those fallen angels are evil. Regardless of how you believe the Bible was compiled and whether or not you use this book as your reference, which we know you don't, but we do. But we believe according to what we've read. As a matter of fact, we know according to what we've read that those fallen angels are against the Creator. And I'm asking you your view on that, whether or not you believe these Anunnaki are good or evil.
Well, it's difficult to measure or judge history by today's standards. That happens hundreds of thousands of years ago, and to judge what they did then and why they did it by today's views is not fair. But I can still answer that.
Okay.
The fallen angels is only an interpretation of historical evidence that we find in this case in Genesis. And there's room for many interpretations. Which one is the correct one? Well, I've been on a lifelong quest to determine. And I wouldn't say that my ideas differ from that of someone who strictly believes in the Bible and everything in it. I just believe that many of the main points are misunderstood, or I would interpret them differently. And my reason for doing that is because these same stories that we find often in the Old Testament are much older than we find them in other sources that are much older. The same stories, the flood story. We have, again, Enoch, and the book of Enoch explains one flood story, and Enoch lived about a couple of thousand years before Moses, and we have the one you referred to in the Epic of Gilgamesh, where the Noah character was named Utnapishtim. And in each of these instances, they describe the same story, but a little bit differently. As an example, Utnapishtim did not believe that God said that mankind was evil and God was going to destroy him. He was told by the Anunnaki that there was a turmoil coming in the solar system, and that a huge meteorite, a chunk of a piece of a sun that had broken off in another part of the universe, that was coming through the solar system, our Earth-Sun solar system, very close to the Earth, and would cause a major destruction. And so they, at that time, removed all of the full-blooded Anunnaki from the planet in spaceships, and they waited it out in space until the deluge had come and gone and then came back. But Noah, Utnapishtim, or the fellow Enoch describes as well, they're all the same character, were half human and half Anunnaki, and so they gave them information on how to build a ship, like the Ark, that would give them a better opportunity to survive the deluge. They simply didn't have enough room available on their ships to take everyone, and so the children of the Anunnaki that were half human unfortunately couldn't come, but it wasn't their fault. It was just there was no room aboard to take them. Now, I understand that that's contrary to what many Christians think, and I don't have a problem with that, or Jews, and I respect everyone's belief. And I think the stories we're talking about are all the same, and essentially the message is clear and the facts are clear behind them, but it's how we interpret them and understand them. I've come to a gentler understanding of our history than I think most people that are strong in their beliefs, religious beliefs, are. I don't believe in this judgment of I don't believe in a God that would destroy everything on Earth, including kittens and puppies and little squirrels and pandas, just because he was angry at man. That doesn't make sense to me, and I don't believe a great and loving God could possibly do that. I do believe that a natural catastrophe could have occurred and did occur. There was a flood about 12,000 years ago, no doubt about it. There's archaeological evidence all over the planet for its destruction, and it's just that I think it's misunderstood today, the purposes of that.
Well, let me just respond to that real quick, because
sure.
we have a different take on that, and there's a few other questions I have to go into. The ideology of some of the things that are in your book. But let me answer to that. Opposed to me viewing that flood as the Most High being angry and just destroying all mankind, we view it different. We view it in a way that all-loving God destroyed the earth through water and saved the few to save mankind. Because of these fallen angels who began cross-splicing all types of animals, cross-splicing all types of food and things of that nature, and they started attacking and having man serve them. If it wasn't for the flood, then mankind, as we know it, would have not survived. So it's two different views. We believe the love of God happened to save the people. That's why the flood was created, and that's why the ark was made. Not that he hated the world and that he hated and had hate. He did that to save a few so that we all could live. We view that as love. That's our view on that. But let me ask you this question now, going into the next portion.
Sure.
Dealing with the ideology that's within your book, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing, just going into the ideology of it, because there's a concept that, well, put it this way, you are very articulate of how you express these views in this particular book, but you're not the first to have had these views. I've done a little yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But before that, I would like to ask you a few questions, elaborate on sort of the religious side of your beliefs. so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
the way we would view it as religion. Because you have devoted a lot of your pages to religion. You have the ideology or the understanding or the belief of reincarnation and duality. I would like you to elaborate on this concept of reincarnation, and I would like you to talk about this concept or this belief, not just from your view, but also from other cultures and how they have had this same belief of reincarnation, if you don't mind.
Sure. Let me just proceed by one thing. I understand a little bit of a difference in the idea of the love of God. I was born, I was raised a Methodist, and I sang in the choir, and I read the Bible at a very young age, I think at 16, and I was fascinated in the stories, particularly in the New Testament. I was sold on Jesus when I read the Proverbs and the things that actually came from him. But as I got a little bit older and went to school and learned about Erich von Däniken, who was one of the first people to write about these subjects, and read that book, I was intrigued. And I was a young man at that time, about 20 years old. And I devoted my life at that point to learn as much as I could. And so as you said, there are many other authors who have written about this subject, and I fully credit in my book that I got my initial ideas from most of them and still do. But,
okay, if you don't mind, let me get his name again. I had others that you've mentioned, but can you give me his name again, the one you just mentioned?
Sure. He was the very first person to write a modern book about this subject, and his name is Erich, E-R-I-C-H. He's from Switzerland, and his last name is von, V-O-N, Däniken, D-A-N-I-K-E-N. And I reference his work, okay. And Zechariah Sitchin, who also was one of the group, he worked on the interpretation of the Enuma Elish. He was a linguist, okay. Middle Eastern scholar. Right. But back to your original question on reincarnation. I'm sorry?
I just wanted to know, what is your idea of reincarnation, and do you know any other cultures that also believe this specific ideology?
Approximately 1/3 of the people on this planet believe that reincarnation is as natural as a baby being born with 2 arms and 2 legs. We don't realize that. But all the people who are Hindus and Buddhists in that part of Asia have grown up and practiced this belief for thousands of years. And there's good reason to it. And what I've discovered myself is that modern science, particularly quantum physics, is beginning to actually get a handle on this in addition to DNA research. And we're beginning to see that evidence of a physical soul, or not a physical, a literal soul that accompanies every body, every human body. And what I mean by that is dualism, as you referred to, is the belief that humanity is made up of 2 things. The physical body, including its brain, which has the mind, is one, and the soul that Jesus so often talked about and other religions talked about, which is something that inhabits our body at the same time when we're alive, but the soul was there before we were born, and when we pass away, each one of us, the soul will still go on with its memory and individual experiences from this life and any past lives that we may have lived. It's a very, very, very old idea. In fact, it's been edited out of the New Testament, but that's what Jesus originally taught. And you can find the references, still a couple of them in the New Testament, but mostly the New Testament has been was put together by the Catholic Church Fathers, and they invented basically a new religion. Today, I know this may seem disrespectful, and I do not mean it to be that way, but I say this literally. Christianity today is a dead a dead religion. There are no Christians on this planet. Now, let me explain that, and I hope some of your listeners don't get angry. But Jesus was not a Christian, or he was the original Christian, I'm sorry, and he taught Judaism with new ideas and new beliefs, and you can find those in the Proverbs. But that's not what we find in the Bible. The Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and all the books that follow, and John, the apocalyptic section in the end, those were written by the Catholic Church Fathers, and they were extensively edited. And much of what they put in there and attributed to Jesus came from their former religion, which was Mithraism. And Mithraism was the Roman religion for about 900 years prior to 325 AD, when Constantinople created Catholicism as the Roman religion. Mithra was a god who lived about 700, 800 BC, or an advanced being like an Annunaki. And he left a legacy which the Romans and the Greeks and many other Middle Eastern nations took up, that religion. And that was the religion at the time of Jesus and his ministries. And it remained the Romans' main religion until 325 AD, and most Roman soldiers, generals, and wealthy people all believed in Mithraism. And when they took the stories that were brought to them about Jesus and his teachings, they edited them and added teachings about Mithra into the story of Jesus. And many of those stories, and again, this can be proved through, we have the archaeological documents that are still in museums to prove this is a true case. But many of the ideas, like Jesus being literally resurrected from a 3-day-old putrid corpse, was not what Jesus and the original Christians taught. He was talking not about it literally, he was talking about it figuratively. What he meant was that after he died on the cross to offer salvation to mankind, he would be resurrected as a spirit, not a person in his old body.
Excuse me, I have a lot to go through. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to make this. No, listen, I just want to make this clear. It seems like you're going through great lengths to look to. Let's make it clear. We're not Christians. I'm not a Christian, and I understand that the Roman pagans hijacked Christ's work. You understand, and I understand that Christianity today is nothing but pagans.
Good. We agree.
So I'm cutting the chase to let you know that there will be no offense on this part. We're about truth.
Well, good, and it's important. It's very important.
So listen to me clearly. You don't have to go through great lengths and weed through the Bible. I know what you believe concerning the Bible. We went through your material. What I need to know is, based on what you believe and what you know, what is your source outside the Bible, or to bring you to the belief of reincarnation?
Great. I can answer.
My question leads to, is this an idea that was taught to you from some of the well-respected people like Eric Van Daniken, or this is something you came that you've come to your own conclusion outside of that literature?
No, sir. I'm not. I've had this hint, but I've come to this conclusion as a result of reading some of the top scientists of the last 30 years. There are many of them, and they write about. One of the greatest is a gentleman, a doctor, Dr. Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia, whose life study was visiting with children. When I say children, I mean kids generally from 2, 3, 4 to 5 or 6 years old, who claimed that they had lived previous lives. Not only did they claim it, they described those lives and the names of the people in their family who they'd lived with. And Stevenson took these cases and then went back with a team of experts and checked to verify to see that this other family and these other people were real, where the child said it. And his books are one of the mainstays for this belief. There are other books that have come out by a number of fine researchers and doctors on the life-after-death experience, where people have died and their brain activity is legitimately ended. They've stopped breathing, and they come back or resuscitated and have this clear vision of a heaven and a place that they've been, and to prove that their consciousness, their soul, was alive. So there are I could go on and on with the names of people that have written these books and done these researches, but that's where my belief comes from.
Okay, well, great. Well, let's move it right along now.
Sure.
Now, going straight to the point now. We're going straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
You with me?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So, aliens came to the planet. Aliens, now this is what you believe. Aliens came to the planet. Now, I believe they came too, but I understand that the word alien itself comes from an ancient word, alahayan, which is an angel or fallen angel. The word itself entails spiritual power on the outside of our terrestrial plane, which we both can agree.
Sure.
We both agree that something came from out there. But we believe that what came from out there, even though it taught mankind many things, including certain sciences, we believe that these are fallen angels that revolted against the Creator. We believe that these fallen angels will be judged. Yes, they've done great things in this earth. Yes, they've built great monuments. But all in all, they are under the number one, numero uno fallen angel, whom a lot relate to as Mastema. Some relate to him as Satan. Some call him the fallen angel Lucifer, which the majority of the corporations worship and the Masonic orders worship. But the key point that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to ask you straight out, yes or no, if I can get one of those real quick. Do you believe the Anunnaki are good, yes, or evil, no? You believe they're good or evil?
Both.
If you can answer that. You think
I would say,
okay, good.
yes, I think their intentions were good, but things happened that we might say today may have been, through today's eyes, may have been not necessarily evil, but not the right decisions.
Okay. Now, let's get to the point now. Because this is, usually someone who believes in the Bible would call you in or to try to discredit you or to come against you or to try to show their views or try to convince you to believe what they believe. That is not our goal at all.
Thank you. I respect that.
Exactly. Our goal is to come to a common ground and hopefully through the spirit of our Creator, we all come to a mutual understanding before it's over. One thing I would like to ask you is under the morality, because you believe in reincarnation. So let's talk about the morality side of things right now on how society should operate to uphold righteousness within the earth. Let me ask you a few questions concerning morality.
Sure.
Okay. According to what you believe and what you've studied, now you know that a lot of what you believe or what you know and what you've studied fall right in line with New Age doctrine. You know that.
With New Age, what was that word? New Age what?
The New Age doctrine.
Doctrine. Okay, good. I got it.
I'm saying you know a lot of the concepts that you've spoken tonight, that you can hear those in a lot of New Age believers, people who are looking to bring all religions into a oneness, one belief. I would say it's conceptual. It's really conceptually the same things you've spoken of tonight. The majority of them believe in reincarnation. The majority of them believe in following nature, that all religion is evil and it leads to division. But let's deal with the morality part of this real quick. Let me ask you, as far as morality is concerned, we believe, regardless of whether or not some claim the Bible is true or not, we believe that the morality points that are spoken of in the Bible sustains life. And through it, we live. and by breaking it, we die. Adam had a choice, and he made the wrong choice. He was moved in the wrong direction by one of those fallen ones. Let me ask you, just morally now, necromancy or witchcraft, which most practice as a religion in this earth today. Do you think, according to what you believe that's good or evil?
Well, I'm writing a book about that very subject right now in terms of the past worldview. And I don't accept witchcraft in the least. I think it's all twaddle. It's nonsense. The idea of witchcraft just doesn't make sense to me and isn't a reasonable concept. I think it's all an invention.
Oh, do you know that according to the Bible, before grace was applied, that a witch, warlock, a pagan, whatever they want to call themselves in this earth today, a sorcerer, was put to death for practicing witchcraft?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that they learned these practices from whom you would call the Anunnaki?
Well, the Anunnaki have been gone for a long time. I think mankind kind of learned those things on their own through superstition and accepted it. I think that's a product of our own problem. But go back to morality for just a second. I would believe with you probably. I'm sure we'd agree. I think the greatest source of morality in the world exists in the Ten Commandments, in Jesus' parables, in the teaching and philosophy of Confucius and Buddha.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
Okay, well, let's go into it, because one thing about the Bible, it's distinctly defined. I mean, everything is defined down to every iota when it comes to the understanding of good and evil. That's one great thing about that book. Like, for instance, now, I'm just talking outside your book right now, but we can conversate on this. We have another guest who will come in the morning, but I want to touch some key things that you brought forth today. Right now, it seems like there's this media push on the population concerning homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know anyone in this earth that can stop another man from doing what he want to do in the private of his own home with another man, or vice versa. It has no effect on my life whatsoever, or your life, if someone want to go into their bedroom and do whatever they do. So obviously there's a media push to teach this lifestyle as a regular family within the population, within schools. You can't look at any program on earth now unless there's some type of man-on-man love, woman-on-woman love going on. And it seems like it's being imposed on society. It sort of reminds me, because, everything is full circle, it sort of reminds me of the stories I read, like the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, when the Most High rained fire down on those that was dealing with this type of behavior, not just because they were dealing with that behavior. It was their imposition, them imposing this particular lifestyle on the population who just wanted to live their lives, have families, and teach their children to sustain life through having families. Let me ask you this. So I'm not here, each man and woman in this earth we all must choose our own path. So this is not me or any other person judging someone on what they're doing. Even if you're living in some type of sin, there's always an opportunity as long as you're breathing. So I'm not here to bash the so-called gay movement, whatever the case is. I'm just saying that you can see this adamant push on straight people, or people who have always existed, family, culture, the love of family to bring forth life. There's this push against them to accept a certain lifestyle. I don't know which side of the line you're on concerning this particular topic, but I want to ask you, as far as morality is concerned, what is your understanding conceptually concerning homosexuality?
Well, that's a real bomb. I mean, a really difficult question to answer because of the way people think today. If you answer one way that you agree with it, even though you don't, people say, "Oh, that's great." If you say, yeah,
just tell the truth. Just tell how you feel concerning that. Obviously, you know what the Bible say concerning it.
I
just
can't.
Tell me what you think.
What I think is that it is being imposed on us, and I do believe that marriage is a traditional union of a one man, one woman, and that is an institution which must be respected. At the same time, I do understand people should have freedoms and rights, and that's why I believe possibly a legal union kind of a thing, something separate, would be proper for those situations. What complicates it is the politics of taxes. And that's really what drives a lot of these issues. Should two men or two women that want to live together and share a life be penalized differently on taxation because they're not married? And I think that's a political issue to be solved. And if we grant legal unions the same taxing capability, then that would be a better way to go. But I'm not one to judge. I would just add one last thing. I have a very unusual view about homosexuality. I believe it comes as a result of a person in reincarnation, their last life incarnation was the opposite sex. And that's where these strong compulsions come from. And I would like one day to see science or psychologists take that on as a legitimate study and see how that works. But that's kind of,
Okay. Well, that's a whole nother conversation concerning what you were in another life, because
exactly.
Of course, according to what we know, it's afforded man once to die, then the judgment. You understand? Sure. You got one. Yeah. We have one chance to get it right. Now, going back into now, let's see if we can come to a mutual union right now and some understanding. Now we're going to put the Bible on the table. Not whether or not, someone will argue how it was compiled. Let's just deal with some information in it that makes it almost infallible concerning prophecy. And I just want to speak to you about this. I noticed that in the Bible, it speaks of, in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We can talk about the Bible now, and real quick, and I'm going to tell you where I'm going in connection with what's going on with your walk. We found out in Deuteronomy 28th chapter that it prophesied of a people going into captivity by the means of slave ships, by the means of ships by another people, and that their whole nation would fall by the edge of the sword and fall into captivity until the time of consummation. Okay? Mm-hmm. And we did some extensive research, and we realized that throughout history, we have never seen a people suffer or who have been enslaved by another race to this magnitude. I've never seen in history. Now, of course, servitude went throughout all societies. That's from the beginning of time. But when you talk about millions of people, a whole race being up under or serving another race, that's almost unheard of. I've never seen any place in history, secular history or biblical history, in which all Asian people served black people, or all Asian people served white people, or vice versa. All white people had to serve Chinese people. But there's a phenomenon, and that's the slavery that happened to our people within the Americas, in the islands, and in the Western world. And we noticed that it's an uncanny it's an uncanny I mean, it's almost, you cannot get away from that prophecy of people going into slave ships. And that prophecy is so profound. And when you look at the people in the Bible, it relates to us. That the Jewish people are really Khazars. They're not God's people at all. As a matter of fact, they're the biggest discreditors of the book today, knowing that the book is not theirs. And it had the answers concerning not just all religions, but the hope for our people, not according to religion. Let me tell you, I would never step foot in another Christian church ever again. So it not man's religion, but the truth concerning the Most High God, the Creator, and His people, who He allowed to go through these things and sent a sacrifice so that they could one day come back and stake claim to the promise of Abraham. Now, have you ever read the Bible or tried to read it from that angle? Like, okay, there's certain things I don't believe in it, or whatever the case is. Or I understand that so many people try to discredit it, but there's certain things that's in that book that cannot be disputed as far as prophecy goes. Now, have you ever examined Deuteronomy 28 concerning God's people going into cargo slave ships and would one day learn in their darkness that they are the true people of God? And did you ever research that?
No, I don't. I've got I've read the Bible cover to cover at least 3 times in my life in several passages, but many, times over that. But that's one in Deuteronomy I'm not familiar with. So I'm going to tell you, sir, if you can, I need you just on your own time just to do a complete study on Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and just look at it and put a magnifying glass on it. And believe me, because I've read, believe it or not, as a Christian, I read the book from cover to cover at least 2-3 times, and I didn't even see it. Why? Because what they teach you in our society, how to view the Bible, the way they teach you to view it is incorrect. When you finally get the truth concerning these certain prophecies, it comes to life. It speaks to you. Regardless of whose hands was in it and what their idea was, still, the Almighty have a hand in truth concerning that book. And so I'm not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I'm not going to just say, well, I'm not going to deal with the Bible at all because this person said this and this guy was born here and this guy said this and it went through the Septuagint, the Roman Vulgate, and then it came as the Bible. I'm not going to discredit it because of those stages if it has key information that leads to life and truth. So I'm going to ask you, if you can, because you are a fervent studier, I'm going to ask you, if you can, to really look at Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, because I'm going to share with you real quick something we found out that's probably going to blow your mind. Again, it's Deuteronomy 28, did you say? Which passages?
Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the whole chapter.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
The whole chapter, from the beginning to the end, the blessings and the curses of God's people. If they follow, what they would get, and if they rejected the book, what they would receive. And I'm going to tell you, it blew me away because all of a sudden, everything made sense when I understood who we were. And why would they use the Bible? Common sense would tell you they would use the Bible and stake claim to it and say it was theirs so that we couldn't even view it as the information we need to come back to. We would always view them as the authority. Listen to this clearly, brother. I found out that the Jewish people today are Khazars, and and a lot of them don't know. Listen, we're not blaming all Jewish people. A lot of them just learn what their fathers taught them. You understand? So there's no disrespect to Jewish people who don't know any better. But the majority of them that went over there in 1948 are from Eastern Europe. They're Khazars. Mm-hmm. And before that, their foreparents were called the Serpent People in Khazaria. They were known Satanists. They converted into Judaism, and then they hijacked the book while our people were serving captivity. Now, they knew at a time there would be a time of awakening when God's people would begin to awaken back to the truth, would come back to who they were. They knew that. So now they have a grid in place in which they're looking to identify everyone and bring forth what they call a new world order, or what the Bible calls Jacob's trouble. And we've found this is not a concept, this is not a religion, brother, this is just the truth. We found that the reason they've been taking DNA for years, and the reason why they've been so close to us, is that they're looking to wipe out a certain bloodline within the earth. And let me tell you, I would have never knew this if I didn't read the truth concerning the Bible when it comes to bloodlines and when it comes to the concept of war and why there's war. There's war, brother, because the promises will soon come to the people who are on the bottom. That's why there's war. Everyone is fighting for this one people who through all the earth, if the nations rule over these people, they're blessed. You understand? So the war has been over these particular people, but the problem now is that these particular people have awakened to who they are, so they can't be used the same anymore. So now they're going to consolidate the earth. They're looking to downsize the earth. They're looking to eradicate and get rid of those who are aware, who understand, who have the spirit of enlightenment to weed through the darkness and see the truth. So I'm speaking to you tonight, brother, not to convince you to follow what I'm following or following the religion or whatever the case is. We wanted to speak to you tonight so you can take your studying skills and take what you know and how you study back into what you were reading in that Bible. There were some key things there that if you look at it from a different perspective, it can help the people. You understand? This is our last hope here. Brother, it's about to go down here. This is the impending battle against good and evil. This is the greatest war against Jacob and Esau in the earth today. And brother, everyone in this earth have to choose a side. I don't care what you believe in. Personally, what you believe in is not going to matter if you're on the wrong side of things. So personally, it's up to each man to search out their own soul and soul salvation with fear and trembling. But I'm reaching out to you and say, listen, don't even worry about the religious part and all of that stuff that the pagans tried to drag into our book, because it's not their book. Pagans hijacked our book. Just go back to Deuteronomy 28 and look at that. And when you look at it, I'm going to have Brother Azariah give you a contact number in which you can contact, and I'm going to give you some key information that we can share. Because you notice when you started speaking of these different books earlier, right? Mm-hmm. You notice I didn't try to knock the books down or try to say that the books were wrong, only the Bible is true. Why? Because the information and the archaeology that you're mentioning, it's true information. When I say it's true information, it's information. These relics have been found in the earth. You can't discredit something that was found. You understand? So I'm not in a debate to say everything is wrong and only the Bible. But what I'm saying is, brother, that information that you're going into, you understand, was from the other force. It was from the other side of the line. It was from the evil side. You understand? And now it's time to step on the good side. Now, before I go, because it's a few other questions I have for you. I wanted to ask you because, you know, I didn't want to spring this on you right after you mentioned his name. Do you know that Eric Von Daniken, do you know that he, well, we would say prophesied, but he made a prediction that the Anunnaki would be back December 21st, 2012. Do you know about that?
Well, no, I'm not, and I met with Eric in Minneapolis in October of last year. Before, and we joked about December 21, and whatever you may have read, I can tell you personally because I've sat and visited with and talked with him about this very idea. And I even mentioned in the book, I thought if anything could happen, that might be it on December 21. But we both thought that I can tell you for a fact that we both agreed that the likelihood of that happening was not very great. So what you've read, I'm not sure if it's a direct quote from Eric, but I can tell you because I'm a friend of his that's not something that he would say. We laughed about the predictions for December 21. They're also silly, and of course it's come and gone. And we've talked since then and laughed about nothing happening, which we expected wouldn't happen to begin with.
Okay, but let me say this. Let me see if we can tie some things together real quick, because maybe we'll have a conversation offline. I'll say this. The sons of Anak had children. They're in the earth. Okay, the fallen angels have been bound under the Great Pyramid, Giza, who some people may call him Osiris. He's at the base of the pyramid, but in the Book of Enoch, he was planted in the desert Dudiel as Azazel.
Right.
But so the fallen angels are there. That's the gate to hell. So the fallen angels have been bound in this earth for a day of judgment, a day of reckoning. A matter of fact, it so happened that when our people who know better, go and visit those particular areas, they won't let us down in there to read anything. They'll let certain people in, but they won't let us in. You understand? Yeah,
it's unfortunate that's the truth.
It's the truth. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. We know who they are. We know who the Anunnaki is. We know about the Gilgamesh tablets. We know who found them. We deal with information. We understand that the Bible is a compilation of 66 books. There's so many extra-biblical books, pseudepigrapha of the Old Testament, so many books that complete the Bible that if you don't have this information, you can be fooled through false doctrine. You will have incomplete. You will have incomplete stories. We've been trying to say this for years. They canonize the books strictly so that they can be the authority of the book and deceive the people. How can you deceive the people if you're giving them all the information? Right.
We see that in the Nag Hammadi library found in Egypt and dug up, and we see that in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that clearly the earlier interpretations of many of these things you're talking about were discussed differently, and there were different ideas and thinking. In the last 2,000 years, things have changed and been edited a great deal.
Okay. Exactly. Now, it's one point, someone just sent a message, because we have a message board here, and someone asked me to ask you a question. Through what you believe, real quick, how do you explain the slave trade of our people going into captivity, similar to how the children of Israel served in Egypt, serving another country and building their country for nothing? What is your take on that? It's not just the Egypt part, but what is your take on the Europeans taking down the North American Indians, enslaving them and putting them on reservations and still in their land, and on top of that, bringing slaves over to serve in America and to build their empire for nothing?
I believe that's one of the most tragic chapters of humanity, and everyone should be ashamed of it. A good friend of mine, Philip Bell Jr., who lives in Washington, D.C., and is a major mover in trying to get recognition for the horrible things that have happened and get America to recognize it and understand it better so we can overcome it. I read his book a couple of months ago and did a review for him on Amazon on March 12th, 2013. And his book deals with these issues directly, and it's a tragedy which we must overcome, and I believe that we will. And I think possibly one of the ways that we can do that is through multiculturalism, and I really see it happening a great deal, and it pleases me to see the interracial marriages in this country, not just black and white, but black and Hispanic and white, and Asian and white. I think the more we can blend as a peoples, the more humanity has an opportunity to get ahead and get together.
Okay, well, I'm glad you answered that. Let me do a follow-up question, then I have to make a statement for you. Why is it that you notice that there's a lot of ethnic cleansing going on over there in Israel today? Why is it that all through the media it's taught multicultural, diverse mixing and all that? That's what's taught in the media, but yet over in Israel, they're, right now they're looking to kick some of the black people out of there. They're trying to send a lot of the Sudanians back, and they make it a serious crime, sometimes capital if no one's looking, for those of their race who deal outside of their race. What's your take on that's going on in Israel right now, and how they're dealing with levels of ethnic cleansing against the Palestinians and rejecting black people and telling them to leave Israel? This is not their home. But yet through the media, they teach this multicultural, everyone should come together. What is your take on that?
Well, I start my day off every morning with a cup of tea, and while I do that, I read all the internet news, and I read HuffPo, and I read Drudge, and I read CNN and all of the online newspapers to get the news. And I read for 40 minutes to an hour. And I honestly have to say that's one situation I'm not as well aware of. I know that Israel is desperately attempting to overcome the Muslim faction, and I can understand with that. The Muslims, I think, really, they're in this case, many of them are probably being more the aggressor than the Israelis, but they're being very aggressive. But I don't know what the solution is. So that problem's been going on for 5,500 years of recorded history. I don't know how we're going to resolve it.
Listen, I don't know what you're reading, but you must be more informed than what you're letting on right now. Have you been to the Middle East? Have you been over in Israel? Have you been there?
No, I have not. Europe, never the Middle East, though.
Okay, you never been
South
over
America.
the Middle East?
I've never been there.
Let me tell you, brother, Israel is the aggressor on every level. Every level. A matter of fact, it's a shame that Americans don't receive the news the way, and the whole world look at America, and it's no fault of their own. They're subject to the television. They look at America as the strongest. They're idealistic, but misinformed. Let me tell you, no, brother. I'm going to tell you right now, Israel is by far the aggressor. They're just moving the line. They're killing people. They're blowing things up. A matter of fact, Rahm Emanuel's father, he was one of the original terrorists that blew up a hotel to blame it on Arabs so that they can get political ground over there and get Britain out of there. They used bombs. You know about that story. Rahm Emanuel's father was a terrorist.
Well, I have an open mind to all of these things, and it's just that I don't know where I would be able to read that, but I would be very interested in reading the things you're talking about because I do want to maintain an open mind about everything. So is there some news source that you could point me to where I could maybe read more of that?
Well, we're going to
I'll include it in my reading.
Do Azariah have your email?
Yes.
Okay.
He has all my contact info.
We're going to email you everything, brother. Nothing is what it seems.
I'll have a hard read.
I'll tell you, man. Israel is the aggressor. They're destroying the Palestinians. They are waging war over in the Middle East, all over the place. They're trying to go to war with Iran, and they're trying to do all these things. But you know what? It's Bible prophecy. I mean, you can't help it. They're doing their job on the left side of things. But all in all, going back to my original point, brother, that they are dealing with some serious ethnic cleansing over there in Israel right now, and we're going to send you that. They're actually trying to expel black people out of Israel, and everyone knows that Israel was originally black people. All right.
Yeah, you bet.
So I just want to thank you for coming on, but there's another scripture in the Bible that you probably need to read in the book of Habakkuk.
Okay.
In the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, it tells us about a city. It says, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Behold, it is not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and people shall weary themselves for very vanity." And you know that the great Babylon, which is America, is the vainest country in existence that has ever existed.
I wouldn't argue with that at all. No way.
Yes, it's full of vanity. And the Most High will soon rain fire now that they have okayed or gave the thumbs up to alternative lifestyles and teaching this madness to our children and demoralizing the society down to nothing. And let me tell you, even the records you read outside the book tell you that a judgment is coming, brother. So it's over. It's over. So we're just putting this information out to you. And I'm going to tell you, we're still on our quest to get closer to the Most High, but the information we've found up until this time is right on. Brother, we're the children of Israel. We God's chosen people. And we've been trodden down for a long time, and they have taken our identity. They have taken everything from us, but the Creator has always been with us. So we're just here to proclaim that Zion is rising. And I want you to go back and let everyone know that the same people you're looking at, you walking by that are nothing, these people are Zion. These people are some special people, not because they're black. These are the people that Christ came for, brother. And we wanted to talk to you and give you some information to show you that a change is coming.
Well, I'm glad, and I hope it's a good one. As it seems that's what you're describing, and because we need some good news and a good change, and so I'll be. The sooner it comes, the better for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I asked all the questions I needed. I sure would like to go into another talk with you with civilizations, talking about civilizations, the concepts within civilization. So we're gonna send you this information, and we probably want you on again, with the next book that you're bringing out to discuss that book and certain concepts. And listen, a lot of what you brought forth, and a lot of what you said, some I agree with, some I highly disagree with. But I'm not here to debate and go back and forth with you. We invited you on to get your idea and hear what you have to say. And, and I like the fact that you're very open-minded, and, and more people should be like that, open-minded and not shut to any level of understanding. So, and I know some people on the line want to ask you a few questions. We have someone coming on in 5 minutes, but if you can hold on and take questions for at least 2 to 3 people based on a few of these, I know we were all over the place today, this conversation. But if you can take the phone call for 2 or 3 people, we would really appreciate it. Is that okay? Before we bring in the next guest?
I'll be happy to do that, sure.
Okay, well, thank you. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, everyone. Shalom, shalom. You locked into the Search Engine International with me, Brother Rawchaa, and Elder Rawchaa. The guest in the studio tonight is Robert Stephen Thomas. Been an interesting discussion. The call lines are blowing up. Let me see. Let's go to Lexwell, the unofficial member of the Search Engine International. Let me get Brother Lexwell in.
Hey, shalom, guys. That's really nice, man. Hi, Elder Rawchaa, and I'm sorry I missed your name. Bless you, brother. Honestly, you teach us so much good stuff, and I just wanted to know if I could ask the guest a couple questions. Sir, I missed your name when you came on.
Robert Stephen Thomas.
Hi, Mr. Thomas. I really enjoyed listening to you guys conversate back and forth, and I want to know if I could just ask you a couple questions.
Thank you for your kind words, and certainly I'd be happy to answer them if I can. And
I was, based on what was being said earlier, do you consider Anu of the Anunnaki to be a fallen angel?
Well, in the Enuma list, which is where I get most of my information from, he was referred to as, he might be a composite being, because he was referred to as the captain of the trip and the I'm losing my of the expedition that came to Earth. He was referred to as the captain of that. He was also referred to as the king of his own planet, Tiamat, and he was also referred to as the top of the 12 gods. They were pagan, and he was considered the highest god of the Anunnaki.
Right there. But right there, sir, you said they were pagan, and you brought up Tiamat. Now, Tiamat is a pagan dragon deity that was slain, right? So, do you believe Anu of the Anunnaki is a fallen angel?
No, I don't. That's not what the Enuma Elish would say in other books that I've read. He was just the leader of that group of advanced people. He may have been what we refer to in the Bible as God Almighty.
He may have been, but he said he created the humans, not the system of planets and stars.
Right.
The Creator would have created the planets and stars. The things he created would have assisted him at that point with creating everything else, unless so-and-so they turned, right? Or you
right. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying that I think that that's the biblical interpretation or the equivalent of what we're saying.
Let's just be rational about, the Creator versus the created trying to usurp the Creator. That's all I'm asking. You've done a lot of research, and it seems that you would have formed an opinion on this point already. So that's why I asked, do you think he was of the fallen based on, hence they're called fallen?
Well, I already answered that, and I said no, I don't believe that's the case.
Okay, well, based on that, you came to you started on one of your first statements saying that we should believe in the Creator, right?
Yes, well, Anu and the Anunnaki also claimed that there was a great creator God as well.
Well, see, that right there, that right there says there's something over them, right?
Yes, yes, so, I believe that's the case.
Let me ask you a question, a different question. Do you believe in God?
I have no doubt about God, but I don't think that your definition of what God is and mine would be the same. They would be similar. We would describe it similarly, but my actual thinking would probably be a little different than most people.
Can I ask you what your God is?
Well, the founding fathers of the United States, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, the people that wrote I'm going to answer that. The people that wrote the Constitution were not Christians. They were deists, D-E-I-S-T, and deists believe in a natural God that is the order behind everything in the universe, not a anthropomorphic individual that has a gray beard and a white robe, comes down the earth and does things. I don't believe in that concept.
Based on their thoughts, then, do you believe they worshipped Anu, or do you believe they worshipped the thing that created Anu?
Anu was just one of their major leaders.
Do you think they worshipped Anu, or do you think they worshipped the thing that created Anu?
In the books that I've read, they don't worship anything. They respect a natural creator God, but they were way beyond. Religion is a primitive concept invented by man. And
in your opinion, is spirituality or technology stronger?
I don't know how you would equate the two.
Well,
spirituality is our consciousness, and technology is engineering, science. They're not.
Well, so you believe in Anu because he engineered man, but you don't. You're saying you don't have the spirituality to believe in the Creator that created all, and from that we were produced, whether the Creator had a hand in it or not.
I think you misunderstood me. I didn't say that. I do accept a creator God.
When I asked
with a small g.
When I asked you if you believed in God, you brought up the creators of the United States and what they believed. You didn't say what you believe.
Well, I said they were deists, and that is what I would consider myself to be.
So
I'm a deist.
Hey, real quick, because we got a few more calls. We have to get right through, Lex. Let me come in, but I'm going to let you in with the next question. Then we have to take the next call, okay? One more question.
Actually, I'd just like to say thank you. That was wonderful. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, all right. I know other people are lined up, brother. I don't want to become a... All right.
Right.
All right?
Sure, they have room. Shalom, brothers.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Real quick before we bring on the next call, you said you are a deist, sir?
Yes, sir.
See, that's some key information that I think that maybe I didn't ask. Well, anyway, you were mentioning about the founding father were deist. And yeah. Thomas Paine, he was also in that vein during that time, the so-called founding fathers of America, right?
Yes.
All right. And do you know that they were members of what you would call the Hellfire Club?
Never heard that term, but I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah. In Dublin, Ireland, there was a place called the Hellfire Club, where these Illuminists, known Satanists, gathered to speak of the beginning of a new world order, that they would bring the whole earth under one religion.
You mean the Illuminati?
Well, the Illuminati is just a fraction. It's many parts of it. But they are actually part of the Illuminist powers. Or they feel that they are the enlightened ones. They follow Lucifer. Or they may call them Jah or Jabulon under their Luciferian doctrine. But all in all, they were part of the Hellfire Club before they came to the United States. They were Satanists. So deist is another, what you would call, spin-off of Satanism. I know that you probably don't understand that. I don't know that now, but if you know this about the founding fathers, then you need to research their religion. Their core religion is a Luciferian doctrine. But we're going to talk about that. We got many conversations to go. Let's bring in the next caller here.
Okay. What we're gonna do before we get the next caller in, we're gonna take a break and transition into the next segment of the show. There's let me see here. Okay, I tell you what. Before we do that, let me bring the next caller in. Before we do that, 1 minute.
Let's get our callers out of the way. 2 more calls, and then we can just go ahead into the next part. All right?
Okay. All right. We have Kevin with a question. And Kevin, I don't mean to cut you, but could you keep it down to like a minute and get the question out? It's gonna take these two calls that's remaining?
Yeah. Quick question, brother. Shalom to y'all. I have a buddy that said he was abducted by aliens, and he wrote a book called UFO Mayan Calendar. And I just wanted to ask Mrs. Thomas quickly, does the word Israel comes made up of three guys, Isis, Ra, and El? That's my quick question. Thank you, brother. Shalom.
Is the question due?
Okay. Well, it cannot be made up of Israel, Isis, Ra, and El because the Hebrews wasn't speaking English. Eyes are synonymous to wise. So when you look at the word in Hebrew, Israel is the word Yasher Allah. So how do you get Isis, Ra, and El from Yasher Allah? So usually when you see people talk about that's sort of what you would call it's a philosophy. They look at the word and try to break it down and claim that the word Israel came from deities of the past and just look at the name in English. Well, English is a newly created language. So you can't use a word that wasn't in existence for the ancient people of Israel. So that's the answer to that. Let's bring in the next caller, and y'all can aim the question towards. Make sure it's someone that's aiming the question towards the caller. The caller has given us his valuable time, and let's see if we have someone who have a question to him. And then once we let him off the show, and you've asked some questions for me, I'll be more than glad to answer those. But we still have our guests on, so let's do one more question for the guests.
Yes, Brother Greg with a question.
Hello. Shalom.
Hello. Shalom, Brother Greg, you're live. Go ahead.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. I'm good.
My question is, Brother Thomas, do you believe in heaven and hell or judgment?
Not the way most people would. I believe that heaven and hell is within each person's grasp. It's your soul. It's what you do during your life. If you live a good life and a compassionate life, then you're rewarded as soon as you die by going directly to a higher plane. And if the idea, and this is the Buddhist philosophy, if you've done more harm and bad things, it's bad karma it's called, then you will probably have to come back and live another human life, or maybe even in the life form in another lesser animal, a baboon or a cat.
What is hell for? Then what is hell for, and what is judgment? If
I don't accept hell.
Okay, we don't accept hell.
I don't accept hell.
Well,
we make our own hell.
Okay, but who's there to judge to decide if you go to a higher consciousness or if you come back down to earth as an animal or a lesser being? Who makes that call?
The universal intelligence, which I call God, God with a small g. It's a field of knowledge and information, and you'll be your soul and how it did will be based on what you did during each lifetime.
Okay, right. But does this guy have a book of moral standards that he holds accountable for? And when is there the breaking point where he says, okay, enough is enough, now you need to be sent to purgatory or whatever you believe in?
Evil doesn't exist. Only good exists. Evil is simply the absence of good.
Okay, so then when you live your life with the absence of good, where do you think you should end up at?
Depends on how much good you did during your life and how much you used your mind to learn and explore and understand other people and do good deeds to help other people. And there's a scale if you've done more of that. And let's just go back to the Egyptian religion. They believed the same, the Buddhist religion, the Hindu religion, they all did. And I believe essentially Christianity says the same thing, only in a little different way.
But the God of the Christians destroyed the God of the Egyptians. So we know what the Egyptians were practicing was satanic, plus our God is stronger. So why would you continue in a philosophy that through history and the scriptures have shown to have been destroyed by another God that's more powerful and has a chosen people that he's delivered?
Well, that's a little over my pay grade.
Okay, I didn't mean to go over your pay grade. I just want you to know we're gonna try to make sense with this. We already know the story of the God of the Egyptians being destroyed by I am that I am, Ahaya Ashal Ahaya. So why would we continue through any other doctrine that comes from the Egyptians, the Babylonian mysteries, or any of these doctrines that are given to us by Gentiles? Should you not realize that the God of Israel has judged all the other nations and will bring destruction to the other nations because of their foul ways of living in Sodom and Gomorrah? So now if we understand this properly, we know that the God that you should serve should have a set of moral standards that all men will be held guilty of or not guilty of, and the judgment will pursue. But if you think in reincarnation, what life would that judgment be given on? The first one, the second one, the third one? See, there comes a point where time where if your philosophy doesn't match from beginning to end, it's time to go back through it, re-examine it, and then look at something else. Because we can both find the flaws in reincarnation just through our conversation right here. Right, my brother?
Well, I'm open to that. Obviously we don't agree on that, but that's not a problem. I respect your views and thoughts and have no less consideration for what you believe that at all. Just through my research and study, 43 years, I believe what I believe today through what I've read and studied.
Right, and I do the same thing, but I choose to use the Bible. I choose to use a book that has a historical and a prophetic history that's been proven throughout time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna.
I don't want to take up too much time. All right, thank you so much, my brother.
I know.
He asked my question. Yes.
I know. All right, bud.
Yes.
Let's just see you, Brother Greg. Okay. Just hit one.
All right. Thank you. I just wanted to say shalom to my brothers. We had a great Passover, and we'll be ready to upload it on the internet for you, brother. Shalom.
Okay. Shalom. Blessings. Shalom.
Blessings.
Shalom. All right.
Real quick before I go, someone wanted to ask. Someone said they need you to answer the question on whether or not you knew that the same founding fathers who were deists were also Satanists.
Well, I'm not sure that I would accept that. I'd have to see it, and I don't know where that's coming and appearing. I'm open to it if somebody can demonstrate it to me, but I'm not familiar with that. The concept of deism goes back way before the founding fathers.
Well, let me ask you this: if you find out that what you believe leads to a religion of upholding the fallen one, Lucifer or Satan, and that there is good and evil, that there is a judgment, what choice would you make? Would you walk away?
That's a difficult question for me to answer. I'd really have to think long and hard about that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, brother.
It's been a pleasure being on your show.
All right. Bless you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on. I will send that information to you, and we'll keep in touch. Brother Azariah will definitely be in touch with you via email. All right. I'm just gonna play a quick ad, and I'm going to go straight to my next guest who's in the studio. All right. Check this out.
This is the Yog, and I listen to the Search Engine International, the #1 show on the radio. That's what it is. It's official.
Hey, hold up. We got Brother Chingy on the line.
Oh, that's what's up.
What's going on with your brothers?
That's what's up. Praise the Most High.
Definitely. I just want to say, you know what? Before we even start, man, I want to say, I want to thank you, brothers, for providing me with a source to even know about a lot of the things that I became to know about, because through my past journey of growing up, since I was a kid in school, man, I've always been into history. You know, that was like the top class for me. It was history, and even as a youngster, I always wanted to know my history and heritage. And so that was something that was on my brain for years and years. And as I got older, I got to the point to where I really wanted to know, and so I just started researching and researching different things, man. And this just didn't start. It was years ago. I became to a lot of knowledge that I didn't even know or have a clue about. And I just want to say to you brothers, man, just, Brother Ra, I actually on Saturday in the morning I look at some of your classes. I go in the search engine International Radio. I check that out sometimes, so I'm very aware of the truth that you guys are spreading around, man. And it definitely hit me. And I also got some elders myself, Elder Mike and Elder Shyrock out of they got Israelite Nation headquarters in Toronto who enlightened me as well. And so I just want to say that this is the beginning of a journey for me that I'm taking very, very seriously. Now, and since I just want to touch on the song King Judah and me putting that song out, I didn't know that it was going to create the buzz that it created. And I just want to say, Brother Rob, that I really appreciate you, man, and that's why I used your audio in the song, because what you were talking about, before the song and at the end of the song, I think a lot of people don't really realize that a lot of that actually is going on, and that they are really preparing those things. And so I wanted to touch on it, being that I have a voice in this music business to try to enlighten people. I got tired of rapping about clubbing all the time, drinking all the time, drugs, women, sex, guns, killing, this and that. I got tired of that, because I felt like I'm not getting anything across to the masses of the people. I felt like I'm not getting nothing across. Everything that I don't knock anybody for making that type of music, but I just felt it wasn't for me no more, because I wanted to put a different message out there. Now, with that being said, I got nieces and nephews. I got 2 sons. I have, younger cousins who are growing up in this generation that are following the rappers and doing, or just entertainers, period, artists, and doing what they saying. And if they say they, sipping some syrup, doing some drugs, or doing this, they go do it. And I've actually seen them do it. Now, and with that being said, man, I just wanted to change my message around to give these kids, some positivity and truth to look forward to, instead of the negativity that we facing. Now, back to King Judah. Like I said, I got a lot of people asking me, well, is Chingy a Jew? Are you a Jew? What's your religion? And I just tell them, I represent the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I leave it alone, because I've learned that some people that don't understand that, they'll sit there and argue you down and try to just break you down about it, when they'll become to the truth. At some point it'll come to them. So I just say my piece and keep it going, because I know where I stand. I know where I stand with that now. Now I'm like I said, I'm on a beginning journey towards this, and I don't have all that knowledge that Brother Rod that you have and a lot of the elders have. I don't have that yet, and that's where I'm trying to get. And I got some more years to go, but at least I know what I know, and I became to the truth that I became to. So I just wanted to touch on those couple things, man, and let you brothers know that I appreciate you guys.
Well, brother, I would like to say all praises be to the Most High. When they sent me the clip, I almost couldn't believe it. I listened to it, and I'm like, you know what? The Most High is exalting His word. He's waking up our people. And you know what, brother? We said a prayer for you, because let me tell you, brother, now that you've come to this knowledge, we know that a lot of adversity going to come your way. No sooner as you did that, I've seen this guy Mark Dice try to say something negative about it.
And you know what? Not to cut you off. Actually, Elder Shyrock from Toronto headquarters told me about that. Yeah. Immediately they put out their agents to try to demonize you or try to go against you. And
I just want to say, brother, stay strong, because once you get the truth, that's when the battle begins. Because with what you know and the influence you will have, it's dangerous to what we call the New World Order, because you are a fight against a tidal wave. But with the Most High, you can gain so many people to the truth and guide them out of this thing before it falls. Let me ask you. Let me ask you. Do you plan on doing a whole project strictly with truth?
Yeah, I'm actually working on a project, EP right now that I call Chapter 2 of Chingy, verse 1980. I was born in 1980, and that's why I put the verse 1980 right there.
Yeah.
And I'm working on that right now. It's gonna be about 10 records, and everything is going in that direction. And I'm about to shoot the King Judah video actually this Sunday.
Well, I'll tell you what. On top of this, we can have a conversation on top of this. I got a young brother, Micah Allah, and some serious stuff that he want to send you, so that you can hear. He's a serious producer. So we might as well try to. All right, so we're going to send you these things, and and see if we can wake our people up. So many young people need this right now. So,
and that's what I'm here for. I'm ready to do that work. So that's what I'm here for. And anything you guys need with the artists or whatever, man. And I would like to keep some communication with you guys, because sometimes I just like to get insight, and I like your insight, man, and how you break things down when you speaking on the subject. And so just when I got questions and everything, I wouldn't mind hitting you up, about some stuff.
Okay.
So,
okay. Well, right now I'm traveling, but we have your number. So matter of fact, I'll be calling you. I'll give you a call tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, Ben, I really appreciate that.
All right. So because we're doing some
sir.
traveling, because Babylon is the Titanic. It's breaking in half and it's going into the water. So
hey, trust me. Trust me. I know. I'll be sitting at home, man, thinking like, man, where is it that I could get away from this place before it collapses? Well, yeah, I feel you.
Well, we're gonna have that conversation tomorrow, brother. Definitely. All right.
Okay, definitely.
But I want to just say, brother, praise the Most High, man, and may the Most High send His spirits to protect you, man.
I appreciate that, man.
The holy angels go before you, brother, because you got an uphill battle. But it's going to be at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you're going to be standing with a Mitri. You know what I mean? As a prince under the King of Judah. All right.
Right. Yes, sir.
So praise the Most High. Let me ask you, Chingy. Do you mind taking a few calls from some of the listeners? Or?
Yeah, it's all good. All good.
All right. So I'm going to get out of the way. I just wanted to meet you. Of course, we're going to meet face to face very soon, and also we're going to send email where you can actually get. We have classes where we go into the news and everything every Sunday, which will get you up to date. We're going to let you in, so we're going to send you the information so you can get in starting Sunday, all right?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Okay, so let's open up the lines. Let's let the brothers and sisters talk to Brother Chingy here.
Hey, all right. You're locked into the Search Engine International. I'm your host, Brother Gaja. We Elder Rawchaa, the guest on the phone line is Chingy. Brother Chingy, one thanks for coming on. And I think Brother Azariah told you about the Saturday show, Chilling with Israel. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You was talking to me?
Yeah. The chilling with Israel this coming Saturday. Did Brother Azariah tell you about that?
Chilling with Israel this coming Saturday. Oh,
yes.
No, he didn't actually.
5 p.m. Eastern. I'm gonna invite you on that show so we can talk.
Oh no, yeah. You're right. No, you're right. He did tell me about that. My fault. Excuse me.
Yeah, and let's make sure we cameo King Judah. If we can play that tonight, that would be a blessing too.
Yeah.
Elder Rawchaa get you that clean too.
Okay, the water, brother. That's a blessing. All right.
Yeah. The one that we have here is adult rated. So might play that. Yeah, we'll play that in a bit though. And just I'll mind let everyone know that they have children listening. They just move them away from the language. The language.
I'm gonna get that clean.
All right, man. Let's see. Let's get some calls in. We have Kamar. Brother Kamar.
Shalom. This Brother Kamar from Michigan. I just wanted to say shalom to you brothers and everything. Brother Chingy, I need to tell you, man. I need to tell you. Look, when you get in that academy class this Sunday, you about to be blessed with a wealth of information, brother. I'm just letting you know.
I can't wait.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man. And look at here, Israel is rising up. It's rising up, brother. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes, sir.
Go ahead. No,
I just said yes, sir.
Oh yeah, man. It's we rising up, and it's time. It's due time. Welcome to the war. And that's all I want to tell you, man. Hey, strap up, lace up them boots, and let's get it going.
We definitely gonna get it going, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to even, speak your piece with me. It's all love.
All right, brother. I'll see you in class Sunday.
All right.
Guys, you give me a holler later, man.
Will do, man. Will do.
All right, shalom.
Shalom. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The next caller here, we got Alvin with a question. Shalom.
Okay. Hey,
shalom.
Let me. What's going on? What's up, brother? What's going on?
How you doing, man? I just got into the queue. I'm not sure if I heard this correctly, but is this Chingy?
Yeah.
Is this Chingy? Okay. Man, blessings, all praise to the Most High.
Yes, sir.
My question is, and I didn't hear this correctly. Maybe I didn't. I just came in. But how'd you come to the truth?
Well, it was, growing up, man, in my earlier days, man, I've always been into history. History just always been a subject that I really was in tune with. And so I always looked and was like, okay, European people know they roots. Asian people know their roots. All these people know their roots, but us as black folks, when I ask a black person where they come, they just say slavery. And so I just was like to myself, I'm like, it's got to be more to that. So I've always been interested in knowing my history and heritage over the years. This ain't nothing that just came about. I guess the Most High just wanted this to be the time that I fully get into it. And so, man, I just been learning, and I got some elders alongside of me, that's teaching me constantly about the truth. And so I'm learning and observing, man, and just taking it in and just building up. So this comes from my past wanting to know the truth and just growing up and getting more into it and in tune with it.
Okay. Couple questions, maybe one more question. So, I mean, because you kind of been out of the eye of the media lately. Was there a purpose of why you stopped making music, or not stopped making music, but kind of? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know where you're going. I know where you're going, and you know what? Man, I kind of, with dealing with this music industry, and I'm going to tell you something before I even answer that. I don't even make music no more to looking towards the materialistic, looking towards the money or anything. I make music because I'm compassionate about it. I have a passion for it. And right now, I'm just making music because it's something I love to do. I don't care about the money aspect or none of that. I'm just making the music. But I kind of, it was a time where I kind of got tired of it, man, and everything that comes with it. And so I just went into it. I wasn't really into it, but I was putting records out and and all of that, but I still wasn't as active as I could have been. Now putting this King Judah record out, and I'm in a state where I'm happy. I'm in a state where I'm just full of joy. I'm in a state where I'm just my intelligence is growing, and I'm in a state, man, where just the truth The truth is me getting the truth out there. And so it's kind of people been asking me like, are you reborn and this and that? I'm like, no, I'm not reborn because I don't know how I'm gonna be reborn, but it's just a new character. It's a new me in a more positive, more truthful form. And some people don't even know how to accept it. Some people don't even know how to accept it. I got homeboys, I got friends of mine who, they see me with this becoming to the truth, and now, they'll come around me playing, what's up, brother, and this and that, and I'll be like, man, listen, I'm still the same person. You ain't got to be sarcastic saying what's up, brother, because that's the term how I speak now. And I try to tell him, I said I don't say nigger because I said I'm done degrading myself with a word, a byword that the Europeans and everybody gave us through slavery. I said when we say that word, you just reminding yourself of what they done to you. So I said I'm done with that. You know what I'm saying? And so when I address them as brother, they tend to play about it and be sarcastic. Hey, what's up, brother? I said, man, if you're not gonna say it and mean it, don't even say it to me. You understand what I'm saying? And so, but just to answer your question, man, I ain't mean to get off too deep, but go off on the deep end with what I was talking about. But just to answer your question, I stayed off the music scene because I was tired of it, and I'm coming back on a newer person far as in spirit.
Okay. Now was there powers that approached you when you first came out?
No. You know what? I don't be meaning to cut you out, man. I know what you're finna say.
No, you know where I'm going. Yeah, you know where I'm going. Yeah.
Hold up, brother Alvin. I wanna take a few more calls, right? And I tell you what, brother Chief is gonna be on the Chilling with Israel this coming Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think we'll use that platform to get in more with the questions and all that. You understand me? So
yeah, but Gotcha, I want him to. I would like him to answer that. That would get an interest in there.
All right, go ahead.
No, actually, you know what, man? I have to say that nobody's ever came to me in that way about you know what I'm saying, selling myself or selling my soul and to do music or anything. Now I've heard artists come to me and say that people have approached them. But to be honest, I couldn't even really touch on that because nobody's ever came to me about that. My record deal came from pure talent and my artistry. When I got signed, it was pure talent and artistry that got me signed. So, but I know that happens with a lot of artists, man, because I've seen people talk about it. And be like, this power that be, this label came to him about this, and but actually with my career, man, it never happened. It never happened like that. So I don't really know how that goes about when they do that.
All right. Let's see. All right, man. Okay. So I tell you what, we're gonna play this song, King Judah. If there's any children nearby, we ask you just to move them away for a minute.
I'm gonna get the clean version to you in a minute.
All right, let me get this in. Where is it? Here it is.
That's why we here. We got other things to do, but brothers and sisters, y'all better listen. Your God that put you in this is calling now. He's telling you it's time, and they know it's time. They know it.
Before I say this verse, all praises to the Most High. Sitting on the throne, Chingy the king, what I go by. Jumped off the slave ship to a spaceship, boy, I'm so fly. Cut your triangle eye with my short mind, there's no eye. You in the kitchen, cooking up, trying to bake a pie. I'm reading about my past deception, trying to cremate a lie. Guess I should talk about bottles, girls, the hood, and guns. I've gotten sick of that, you son of sin, I'm God's son. Throw up your number one, and rest at 7 with me. New year for new light and new life where can't no hater dip me. And tell her mama she ain't gotta do that for the cheese. And keep that swine, beef and shrimp, I don't want that slow disease. They say you nigga please, what you done got on? I'm saying brother please, man, cause you ain't got on. I hope this hurt hit home, probably not cause addiction staying in your environment.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm going to get y'all a clean version. But, hey.
Go on.
But check this out. Before I leave, I wanted to see if I could say this verse from a. Actually, I'm gonna be going into the studio later. I'm gonna doing this song, and I wanted to see if I could just say a verse of it real quick.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's called.
The mic.
You say what?
Yeah, man. The mic is yours, man. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. It's called "Kill Me Like Christ." Now it goes. They want to kill me like they kill Christ, but hang me from a rope and take away my life. But as you see, the path I'm on is headed right. You'll be wrong to accept darkness when I'm trying to shed this light. In 80 was birth, didn't come from no church, just the mud from the dirt. Obeyed and lift off this curse. Sent my people through Egypt, and they constantly work this great whore named America. She always flirt. God, Adam, then Cain, Seth, Noah, and Shem, Ham, Japhet, Gentiles, Edom, let's touch on them. Julius Caesar, homo, stole the Hebrew law logo, holy scriptures and twist them, made us these Christian victims. Okay, hold up. How did all religions come to rule? Religion passed down, re-Babylon to Timbuktu. Your cross mean death, forgotten Israelites know that. The truth I see light up ahead, I'ma show that. This point that I'm stressing is just a lesson. Romans killed Jesus the Christ, but church want your blessings. Should I like the Pope? And why should you like him? Matter of fact, I'll be right there when the Most High strike him. Okay, shalom. And I just want to leave y'all with that.
Let me tell you, brother, man, this brother is about to go through some fire. Before you bring that, brother, you're going to have all types of news circulation, printing stuff. He coming at the Pope. He's coming at Julius Caesar. He's, man.
And I just want to say, I just want to say that's how I'm feeling, and that's the truth. And by all means, I'm gonna get it out there in the way I need to get it out there, so the people can soak it up and take it in. Because I'm not just learning this to be learning it and not spreading the light. I'm learning it for a reason, and it's being put within me for a reason. And I feel like a light bulb that has been cut on, that you can't cut off.
All praises be to the Most High, brother. Well, we'll go take care of your business, brother. We're going to be talking.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys, man.
Okay. All right. Bless you.
Bless you too. All right.
Shalom.